Hello, I'm Roy Caudill, Glacial Lakes District Superintendent. If you were to take a pilgrimage to Israel, especially to Jerusalem, you would be led to some stone steps that have existed since before the days of Jesus. These steps lead down to the Garden of Gethsemane. As you stand and walk on the steps, your guide will say to you, "You are now walking where Jesus walked." Literally. To walk where Jesus walked goes much deeper than walking 2,000-year-old steps. Adam Hamilton, in his book, 24 Hours That Changed the World, has us walking the steps of Jesus. Arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane, taken to the high priest Caiaphas, Peter and John following outside, and we know what happens there, that before the next sunrise, Peter will have denied Jesus 3 times before the cock crowed. Then he is taken before Pilate. There he is put on trial. And instead of releasing Jesus, they release a man named Barabbas as the people cry out, "Crucify him." He is beaten, he is mocked, he is spat upon. A crown of thorns is placed on his head. He is let out and he is crucified, died, buried, and on the 3rd day he rose again. On that cross, he gave up everything for us. Jesus himself predicted this would happen. Oh, I don't mean those times when he said the Son of Man will be taken into Jerusalem, where he will be handed over and crucified, buried, and will rise again on the 3rd day. I'm talking about that little story that appears in Mark and Luke about 2 days before the 24 hours that changed the world, where Jesus is in the temple area and his disciples are with him, and he is watching people put their offerings into the offering boxes, into the collection boxes. And there he observes a widow, and she comes up and offers everything she has, 2 coins. He says to the disciples, "Look at this. Everyone is putting in out of their wealth, but she has given everything she has to live on." Some scholars say that what Jesus was really showing was that in a few days he would do the same thing. He would give up everything. Have you ever had a spiritual nudge? You know, I live in Sioux Falls, and one evening I was sitting at Barnes & Noble. I was drinking a cup of coffee and I was reading from my Nook when I had one of those nudges. The nudge was, go to the gospel mission. So I called the mission. I asked, what time does the service start? I was told 8 o'clock. It was 7:35. I had time to get there. So I closed my Nook, picked up my coffee, left Barnes & Noble, got into the car, and traveled to downtown Sioux Falls, where I entered the Union Gospel Mission. A young lady, who obviously wasn't a resident of the mission, handed me a song sheet. I then sat down in the next to the last row, and it wasn't long a man came up to me and he said, "Could you move up? We want the back 2 rows for the women and the children." I went and sat in the 2nd row, right behind a man. I noticed another man come and sit to the left of that man, leaving space for about 2 people between them. They didn't seem to know each other, although they could have. The service unfolded, and it was led by a group of college students, an outreach team from Augustana College. They used guitars, and we were standing and singing, and it was like a Camp Sunday in one of our local churches. Then it was time for the offering. Yes, they take an offering at the Union Gospel Mission every day. As we were preparing to give our offering, I noticed the man in the pew in front of me, the one to the left. He took some items out of his pocket. I saw him separating the items. One was a folded piece of paper, and then there were 2 $1 bills. He took the piece of paper and he put it back in his pocket. And then he took one of the dollar bills and he handed it to the man to his right. The plate came and they both gave their offering. I think to give in such a way that empowers another to give is what it means to make a disciple. And I think it's what it means to walk where Jesus walked. May it be so for each and every one of us this Lenten season. Amen.